Just 7 drivers remain with a stage set ahead of them on the route to a championship. And it continues live from the Midwest and the Kansas Speedway, where we welcome you to live coverage of the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series right here on the KBueno Racing Network. Happy to have you tune in with us for the second round opener of these playoffs as the battle continues to get tighter, race in and race out. Along with the booth, my name is Kenneth Bueno with Charlie Baier, and after Talladega last week, 3 drivers were cut. And now for the 7 who are still in, Charlie, they're going to have to endure another round, but even more obstacles at hand.
Yeah, this racetrack is all about track position, and a lot of these guys are looking for some momentum, especially the guys who are sitting below the cutoff as of right now. So this track's gonna be a really big gamble. It's almost like a full throttle kind of track with these Cup cars and the high downforce package. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how this plays out.
Where they stand after Talladega. Parker White is in this points lead. Blaze McKinney now second. Glenn Bundren third. Nick Miller fourth, and then reaches the cutoff where J.J. Hill, Keelan Belsha, Ezekiel Reyes lays. So all within 5-point increments, Charlie. And as you see, as they're gridding right now, we're going to get to your starting grid. We apologize for the later start. We had some technical issues to get through, but we're fine with that at the moment. So we're looking with that. Those 4 drivers, really need to get at it, and they really need to kind of pounce on the rest of these drivers, because you can't really stay comfortable and lay back.
Yeah, for sure. And these kind of mile-and-a-half tracks where it's easy to really get runs, this is going to be key for some of these guys like J.J. Hill, Keelan Belsha, and Ezekiel Reyes, who are below the cutoff. I'm not sure if Ezekiel Reyes is actually starting tonight's race. I do not see him on the starting grid or on my telemetry, so it's important for people like Keelan Belsha and J.J. Hill running under the Eel Media Racing with KBRN banner. So it's really important for them to get a good run tonight.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how they shake up and fare with the rest of the playoff drivers, because anything can change. But you see the pace car coming off that will lead the field out of pit road and will take the green flag. But here's your starting grid as they stand at Kansas. Hunter Johnson returns to the Bundren Lawn Care Series and sets pole immediately. 29.879. He starts first. Right alongside him, LWRC Cup Series winner that we saw earlier today, Aiden Kirker in the 8th.
How about him? All-time Bundren Lawn Care Series winner, Blaze McKinney on that number 87 machine. Will start in the inside of row number 2 in third, and to his outside, Mark Love. And that 43 car had a good run a couple of times in the past few races. He's back with us racing here at Kansas. Hill will start fourth.
And then row 3 will be the 88 of Nick Miller, another playoff driver, and then right to his outside, going low racing member Cole Williams will start to the outside of row 3.
And in row number 4, Shane Evantilva, Talladega winner last week on the cutoff race. He will start at the inside of row number 4, and to his outside, Jack DeAndrea, who will start 8th. And looks like we're about to go green here. The pace car will roll off, and we're going to take the green flag for the first time. Night racing at Kansas.
Hunter Johnson, Aiden Kirker will lead the field. The green, 7 drivers remaining. How will they set the tone? We'll just have to find out coming in this second round. Green flag will be displayed. The 12 of Hunter Johnson will go up to an easy start with the playoff driver of Blaze McKinney and Nick Miller behind. We are green from Kansas Speedway into turn 1.
We got a yellow flag already on the racetrack. That's Parker White around.
Huge crash off of turn number 4 that involves playoff driver Parker White in the 95 Toyota Camry. It looks like he was spinning off turn 4 when we were trying to get that first lap in. Hard damage to that 95, and if we had enough time in the pre-race show, I was going to talk about him and what he needed to take at least to continue his lead and to go into the championship 4 in a couple weeks time. Now with heavy damage, we're going to take a look. Here's contact. We'll see what happened. It all started in turn number 3. They're going 3 wide here. I believe Sartaj Mon might be involved. The 2 of the Ford Mustang right there. They were going 3 wide. There's Parker White to the outside. They were going 3 wide here. And I think contact starts about, I think right there. Yeah, and it starts right there. That's Dane Cruz in the 46. Glenn Bundren, another playoff driver, also involved. I think think Darren Myers must have also been involved in that as well. Jack DeAndrea goes to the grass. Corey Hart. I think there was an incident up ahead here. Mitch Hobbs, Cole Williams involved in this. Lots of drivers involved. Lap number 1, a huge pileup.
Yeah, right out of the gate, we see a lot of carnage on the front straightaway and in turns 3 and 4, involving a multitude of drivers, and you know, some playoff drivers were also collected in that, so they're might have to use their fast repair this early.
And especially if you're Parker White, you definitely need that fast repair now, or else maybe you can try to hold on for the rest of this race. But with the damage that he has, yeah, and there he is with the fast repair, so easily going to settle for that for right now. That means he's going to have to keep his car clean from the rest of the race and have to trust himself. There's the 017. Darren Myers. Corey Hart is now out of pit road. It looks like Jack DeAndrea also out as well. Glenn Bundren is also down pit road. So lots of drivers involved in this first incident on lap number 1. Hunter Johnson is your race leader. And I guess that gives us kind of a little bit more time to discuss about what we were kind of anticipating in this race, Charlie. We had, you know, going into this race, it was supposed to be Martinsville on the schedule, but it was replaced by this racetrack here at Kansas. I know we saw another schedule change with Auto Club in that part, but we had Kansas back at a 1.5 mile track where we saw outstanding racing at Chicago the last time we visited one. And Charlie, really, the keys for this race, is it kind of a shot, at least for some of the other drivers who might be proficient in these 1.5 mile tracks and kind of think they have another shot, at least if they're in the playoffs?
I think we already got a taste of what is expected tonight. In lap number 1, we saw 2 incidents backed up right next to each other, one in turns 3 and 4 and one off of turn number 4. So, you know, it's really a matter of, I mean, I guess if the trends of wrecks keep happening, I guess it's just a matter of survival. If people, you know, who are below the cutoff can you know, hang in the back, be really conservative, and then they can be there at the end.
So caution out, lap number 1. We'll have a couple of laps under the yellow flag, and we'll kind of give a discussion about where we are here for KBRN Track Map. We've kind of went up northwest, if you will, to the Midwest on Talladega, and we had, you know, lots of things to talk about here at Kansas, and we didn't really have much info on this track, considering the fact that we kind of didn't really, you know, think about having this on the schedule. We had it for a while, and then obviously when it changed, we didn't. We thought it was going to be out of the question, but then as soon as it came back, you know, we kind of trying to prepare for that. But the track info is at 1.5 miles around this racetrack, 4 turns, located Kansas City, Kansas. You see 982 feet above the ground. And the track type of 71 degrees, so not too hot, not too cool on this racetrack. Gives a lot of grip for these drivers. And, of course, located in the United States of America. Track opened in 2001. So one of the youngest tracks that we have on this schedule, and one of the youngest tracks kind of in NASCAR Cup Series in general. So lots of things to be seen here at Kansas, and not racing here for too long, just 19 years compared to some of the other 10 years that other NASCAR Cup Series tracks have. But definitely going to be interesting as we progress through. So we really didn't get a taste of what this racing is like. Hopefully we'll be able to. There's the onboard with second place Blaze McKinney, who took it over on the first lap under Aiden Kirker, and Nick Miller also went for that position as well, so he'll be starting third. It looks like we've got the 1 to green signal. Looks like the officials are deciding for a single file start, not really looking double file for this time around, so interesting decision by the officials. Looks like Hunter Johnson will start this field all the way through single file, and we'll see how they work through. Very, very interesting how the field is so packed up, double file. That's probably why the officials were thinking about going single file. But nonetheless, pace car is off to pit road. We're going to try to take a restart and probably get some green flag laps in. Hunter Johnson, Blaze McKinney, Nick Miller, top 3 when they lead them back to green.
That's a product of having those single fire restarts, is they're all going to be spread out here, but if you take a look back here, they're all jumping up almost 3 wide. I think I saw Aaron Rooney kind of got a good jump on that restart. He took advantage of those guys not going, took them to the outside, and he's made up a lot of ground so far.
And Aaron Mulrooney, we've seen him in a couple races already, now trying to get in between of what looks to be Peter Kenny. There's Sartaj Mon. I believe Eli O'Quinn is in this mix as well. And John Dobson is around on the front straightaway. Looks like all by himself, and a yellow flag comes out on lap number 7. Early yellows plaguing this race already. It involves one single car, actually 2 cars. There's 1 car down in the grass in turn 1. Not sure who that is. It looks to be the 2. I think that's Kadarius Tave. But another yellow early on. Boy, we have had lots of contact here at Kansas.
Yeah, already. We'll take a look and see what happened with Sean Dobson.
We'll see. I think 2 separate incidents once again, just like we saw in lap 1, obviously with less cars, but we saw here this was on the back straightaway. There's Sean Dobson. He's on the outside there, almost got put 3 wide, but Mark Love down the middle, but he was going too wide here. This is coming off of turn 4. We were talking about Aaron Maroney, and looks like contact with the wall just sent him around and hit Dane Cruz on the way there. And I think we'll see if the 2 car might have gotten contact with that as well. I'm not sure. He went down to the inside grass. I'm not sure whether that was just a product of maybe more contact up ahead. Oh no, actually just getting loose off the grass there. I think was just trying to avoid the 040 of Dobson, and then in the meantime got loose in the grass and was trying to keep it stable. And that really wouldn't be the trigger of the yellow. It was more Sean Dobson, but nonetheless still went around under the apron. So second caution here at Kansas. Not expecting the field to go down pit road because you really don't have any wear on these tires, Charlie. Not really much to give off of. There's not much wear on these tires whatsoever, but great conversation now that we have these specific 2 on the front row. Battling at Chicago. This was the fight for the race win off of turn 4 when Blaze McKinney on that late race yellow decided to go down pit road, took fresh tires, I believe started 7th, and picked his way all the way back through the field to pass that man in the 12, Hunter Johnson, to take over the race win at Chicago. It was a bare win, but nonetheless still very, very exciting, and just a phenomenal performance by both of those drivers. Hunter Johnson has won 2 races this season. He's gone back-to-back, so his experience continues to pay off here early on, still in the race lead, and his pole position, especially with these yellows and the frequency of them, are already taking into effect. There is JJ Hill, one of the playoff drivers that we discussed. JJ currently sitting 5th in the standings, so he is just 1 spot shy of making it into the championship 4. And Charlie, if you really want to set the tone right for the rest of this round, it's kind of way different because you don't have a cushion to fall on, and you kind of have to start back where 5-point increments are a thing, and you have to go back to that and really set the tone right in this race. Some of them drivers already not looking too pretty.
Yeah, for sure, and one of the kind of saving graces, you know, as a guy who's currently sitting below the playoff, is you mentioned the 5-point increments, because, you know, when you enter a new round, the positions, the playoff order goes from first to last, but they're separated by 5 points, so it once again squeezes all those guys together, and now they're near each other in points. So a couple bad races from, let's say, the 95, who wrecked out earlier and had to use his fast repair, it's you know, it could be you know, the end of their playoff run after they've done so well last season.
Yeah, and it really does not. The playoffs really don't account for how well you do all season. If you don't do well in these handful of races, you can easily get shut out and really cut you out of the way for a Bundren Lawn Care Series championship. But while we're on the yellow, lap number 10, a good reminder to let you know that if you want to join the conversation with us up here in the racing booth, you can do so by using hashtag AskKBRN. Put the hashtag AskKBRN with your question following. We'll be sure to answer it just as soon as you send it. We already have one down in the YouTube chat by Rage Elite X. That is Henry Tabor, who was eliminated and currently on vacation, so he wasn't able to make these couple of races. He asked any predictions to playoff eliminations. We just discussed this, Charlie. You got any really predictions, or you think it might just be too early to tell in this round?
I think it's too early to tell. We've still got 3 races left in this round, and you know, anything can happen.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there. It's just way too early. You don't really have any laps, really. I think later in this race we can start at least forming our predictions, at least to lay the foundation for what could be in the rest of this round. But then you don't really see it fit, knowing that they've only had 11 laps and two cautions have really plagued at least most of these laps. So most of the laps have been under pacing, not really under racing. So we haven't seen how the drivers are working together. It's not looking good for Parker White, though. I know that he has his fast repair. He has a clean race car, but it could go away in a matter of seconds like it has in this series and pretty much in this race already. One more question before we handle the green flag in a couple moments. LVD asks, what is the key to keeping laps clean and crash free, Charlie?
I think it's really just giving each other as much room as possible. Because, I think the first 2 wrecks were either a cause of being 3 wide or someone just running into another person. So I think just to keep it caution free and keeping it clean, you just have to give each other as much room as possible. And maybe later in the race you can kind of cut it closer, but if you're trying to be conservative, it's good to leave a couple car lanes between.
So we'll see if they do so. Hunter Johnson and Blaze McKinney will lead the field back to the green flag. They'll enter the restart zone down on the front straightaway. Early good start by the 12 of Hunter Johnson. Looks like Nick Miller has the jump in order to get below the 87 of Blaze McKinney. Looks like he will try to take over second for the moment. And Aiden Kirker, who started in second, will fall back to fourth. He is now on the inside behind all these drivers. Shane DiMantova, last race winner at Talladega, going to try something in this mix. Blaze McKinney going to look to the outside of Nick Miller, who's slowly approaching a race leader. Might try to make a move out of turn 4.
Looking below, these guys have a lot of racing experience with each other. Nick using all the apron as possible. Hunter coming down to the fend. I believe that lap, no, it's still Hunter Johnson. Blaze McKinney up top the hill.
And we'll see the grooves really play an effect as they're almost 3 wide with Blaze McKinney dipping low to the 88. Looks like the 88 tried to do a favor to the 12 by going to the bottom. The 87 did the exact same thing. Now into turn 3, looks like Hunter will try and move to the inside and at least take a moment to pick up second. Looks like he does. Going to try to get the draft off of Blaze McKinney, but here comes the rest of the field. They'll follow with Aiden Kirker, Shane DiMantova, Cole Woody, JJ Hill in this mix. Lots of drivers pouring into turn 1 together.
2 playoff drivers in the top 5, and sitting right outside is JJ Hill. That number 8 car. Good run for him. He really needs this run if he wants a big jump coming to the midway portion of this round, and had to start to set up the final 4. But looks like Hunter Johnson tried to get to the outside of Blaze McKinney, and as if we do get a long run, and I'm going to start to mention how important this outside line is, because this track on old tires, it's an outside line track. You're hugging that wall all the way around, but on the new tires, it's almost like a plate track.
I was just about to mention that you see on the fresh tires and where the rubber is not really laid down too much, you'll see drivers using that inside line like we have seen as Hunter Johnson's going to try to look for the race lead under Blaze McKinney. He's got the space to do it, now going to try and use it. And Blaze McKinney now going to the high side. You see on those fresh tires how much the inside really plays to your advantage when you have that on the early runs. But as soon as we get a longer run going in, as soon as all the rubber's laid down, the outside will prevail. We'll see drivers forming lines up top, up to the wall, making that work as we've got a train of cars on the inside and the outside, led by Nick Miller on the inside, Hunter Johnson leading on the outside. Cole Woody will try to form a line behind Blaze McKinney as Shane DiMantova, Aiden Kirker, and JJ Hill will follow suit under where Nick Miller is. But side by side for second, looks like Cole Woody's in the wall. They're working for second. Hunter Johnson still not with a clear advantage.
They're still out in the race lead. You're going to start to see a lot of these guys start to defend the outside line. They're going to try to make bonsai moves just to get the bumper to the outside. But if you get to their outside, they can't hold it full throttle on the inside, or at least a good portion of the throttle on the inside. We're 3 wide for third place as of right now. But yeah, it's the high line is starting to form in. You see these guys start to rely on it.
And the only drivers using it right now all the way to the white line is Shane DiMantova, followed by Aiden Kirker. And look who's worked his way up this entire field. That is Aaron Maroney, who we were just discussing right before that wreck with a good chunk of drivers, starting with where Sajman and the other guys were around this part of the field. He has worked himself all the way up to this main group. So now he's going to try and fend off with these drivers and the fellow Toyota Camrys up front. Going to try to pounce on these rest of these guys as Hunter Johnson still leads. I think he might have had a peek at the wall there. Looks like Blaze McKinney will try to make the move and steal single file. We'll see a lot of these drivers try doing that later on in this run.
When I think of people who are good at hanging up on that wall, I automatically think of Hunter Johnson. And especially at Darlington, he was running there almost all race in turns 3 and 4, the hardest part to run that wall on the racetrack. He competed in the Landing Castle Hot Lapping Challenge, in which he made it to the final round and had a shot for a $10,000 prize. So Hunter Johnson has that experience, and look, he is just half a foot away from that wall. It's going to be a lot of fun watching him whip around here.
And you talked about Hunter Johnson and his usage of the high line all the way up to the wall in turns 3 and 4 at Darlington. he led every single lap of that race and en route to his first victory in this series. And then, of course, picked up his second win. As looks like Nick Miller tried a slide job move to the 87 on the bottom. It was not enough. He almost had it cleared, but just the bumper was just a little bit too far ahead for his liking, so he had to back out, stay back to the inside, and try to reset and try to make another move on the 87 in the next couple of laps. Meanwhile, we have a battle for what looks to be like sixth between a playoff driver, JJ Hill, and Aaron Maroney, member of SPG Esports. He's got some drivers and teammates to help around. There's Shane DiMantova, Sartaj Vaughn right behind him. So a trifecta of these cars together. It looks like Aaron Maroney will try to take a peek down low to the former race winner from Talladega and look down to the inside. Looks like he'll take that spot easily unless Shane DiMantova is able to hold off on the outside. Good pass by the two. So move Aaron Maroney up to this top 5. He is, so far, I think the biggest gainer of this race.
Right back down to the inside. He'll take that spot, trying to dive it under the 014 car of Cole Woody, I believe that is. And we'll see if he can make it. It's almost like they're throwing slide jobs out here. You dive it down to the bottom, you move up top, and another person kind of gets that run and kind of puts it down to the inside too. We see Shane DiMantova just trying once again, but I think he's on the bottom line. That high line is going to freight train by him.
And they have the draft to their advantage. You see the drivers working together on the outside line single file, so when they have that and they have the draft, as you see Shane now peaks below where Aaron Maroney is. He found that opening, so he'll try to stay there as much as he can. But we got a caution on the racetrack, lap 23. We'll try to see who that is. Keelan Belshaw, playoff driver, involved in an incident, hard damage to that 18 Toyota Camry. Looks like might have been within this group where Cole Williams and these guys were. We'll try to take a replay, see exactly where this stemmed from, but it looks like it started up front. That was the 72, and I think Keelan Belshaw might have just been a victim of just trying to slow down for this wreck ahead of him. Look, there's the spinning 72 there. It looks like, I think, tagged by Mitch Hobbs, and just is going down the front straightaway up to turn number 1, and there's contact. So the 72 goes around, and then I think meanwhile it was the 72 was going around. Looks like Keelan tries to slow down and not enough. Gets into the wall. Cole Williams had a piece of that as well. Boy, interesting situation there. I think this is 2 weeks in a row where Keelan has been a victim of trying to slow down and getting damage from it.
Yeah, it's just tough. Almost gets in the back end of the 39 of Glenn Bundren, who's also a playoff driver.
Very, very tough situation, and he has damage. He still has yet to fix it, as looks like the rest of the field down pit road, I think they had enough of that longer run. Going to try to get the fresh tires and maybe try to form better battles on the next restart and the coming laps in that short run. Hunter Johnson will lead them all through. Looks like nobody opts to stay out at this moment, so everyone will go all together, get 4 tires and fuel, maybe make some differing strategies. I think one driver stayed out. It looks to be the 95 of Parker White. He decides to stay out right now. I think at least try to get something out of what happened earlier in this race. Everyone goes down pit road, get their fuel stops and their tires.
And we'll see who wins the race off of pit road. Hunter Johnson comes out first. I don't see Nick Miller or Blaze McKinney coming out yet.
Interesting call. None of them are out of pit road. Everyone is getting positions on them. There's Jack DeAndre and Sean Dobson. They are still on pit road, the 87 and the 88. Not sure what has happened there. I think now Nick Miller's out of pit road. Now both of them are out of pit road, so maybe some extra service for those 2 cars. I'm not sure exactly if there was any issues with them, or maybe some damage they might have had, or maybe some optionals they had to get fixed and stay a little bit longer down pit road, but huge loss of positions for all of them. They're going to have to carve their way through this entire field now. So very, very quick on this. So Hunter Johnson looks to be leading this field right now. I think one driver stayed out. We mentioned Parker White. Don't think he's on this lead lap at the moment. Looks like he is. So he will be your race leader now. He stays out. Hunter Johnson will follow suit. And we've seen this before, Charlie. We've seen this a couple of times. Parker White staying out. And Parker White on those older tires staying out. I know this is probably not the boldest move in terms of making it now and, trying to, gain some points off of this. So maybe that's his decision. Not sure. We'll see if he goes down pit road just now. Looks like I don't think he will. I'm not sure whether he'll go down pit road within the next couple laps. So Parker White staying out. This seems to be the trend, Charlie, and it's happened a couple of times and hasn't worked out to his favor. Not sure whether he's going to stick with it though.
I think he's just trying to get his lap blood because that'll give him a bonus point or a couple bonus points, and that'll really help him in the playoff picture, especially if he's running where he is right now. Especially, you know, he got caught up in that wreck, and it was really unfortunate for him. He had to use his fast repair.
So Parker White will be your race leader. Looks like he goes down pit road, so he'll decide to go on the fresh tires, and he'll decide to kind of move out of way for everyone on the fresh tires, and made the decision to go down pit road. So Hunter Johnson will be your race leader. Looks like the issue with Blaze McKinney and Nick Miller will move Shane DiMantova, a race winner from Talladega last week, into second. Then it looks to be Aaron Mulrooney will file through in third. Cole Woody will be fourth. Looks like the top five will be occupied by, I think, Mark Love in the 43. So those drivers will be all together. And they'll be doubled up here as the pace car gets the 1 green signal. We have one more shot to get another green flag and another restart here in this race. They're looking to be ready to go as they come off turn number 2. So early in this race, we saw that at least a sliver of a longer run, and we saw Hunter Johnson working that through with the 87, the 88, all of them together, trying to work things through and at least going to that high line. We saw Shane DiMantova, who's on the outside, try some moves to the inside and make things work. He hasn't been able to do so. We'll see how they fare on this short run, all on the fresh tires and a level playing field at hand. We've already had a couple playoff drivers with issues. Looks to be on non-playoff drivers from here on out in these first couple of rows until you get all the way back to a couple of rows deep. So pace car will come down pit road. Hunter Johnson and Shane DiMantova, Ford Mustang, Toyota Camry will lead them back to green in Kansas.
Really good jump for Hunter Johnson there. Here comes Darren Mulroney. He printed himself from the back to the front through this race so far in just 28 laps, and challenging his old teammate. Obviously, Darren Mulroney made the switch from Park City Racing to SPG powered by Evo SimSport. He is contending for the race lead at Kentucky. He tries to push him up the racetrack at a lap below to Hunter Johnson, but Darren Mulroney following suit.
Aaron Mulrooney has picked up so many positions. Now he's going to try to get the race lead, and he does. So new race leader, Aaron Mulrooney, as Cole Woody's going to try and move to the inside of Hunter Johnson. I don't think he has the run enough to do it. Corey Hartz is now in this group as well. He's going to follow suit with Sartaj Maan, and Mark Love to the outside with Shane DiMantova. Joe Berge now into this top 10. So it looks like the new race leader is going to try to lead this lap as Hunter Johnson tries to go back to the inside. Almost contact with the two of Aaron Mulrooney. The 014 looking to spoil the party into turn 1.
And looking to the outside, really use that momentum to get a run on these two guys. But Aaron Mulrooney still trying to take the outside line away from that number 12 car and doing so. But also here comes another SVG teammate, Sartaj Maan. He used to drive for the car right behind him. They got a car spinning behind. That's Mark Love.
And car around. There's Shane DiMantova. Joe Berge's involved. Blaze McKinney had to get around that. And another caution comes out on lap 30 involving the last week's race winner, Shane DiMantova. I mentioned it a couple times. He won at Talladega. Now with damage to that race car, he's definitely probably going to have to use his fast repair if he decides to. But we'll take a look and see exactly what happened. This was coming on to 3 and 4. Here was a move. He went down to the inside of Mark Love. And there it was down to the 43. Looks like they were 3 wide, and he kind of just went up the track and got into the 43. The 43 gets loose and then back down to the 20. Berge has nowhere to go. Looks like Brady Wheelerman's in there as well. Aiden Kirker, what a move by the 01, but it didn't work out. He had to hit the outside wall to get by. And Glenn Bundren is also by. Nick Miller had to slow down immensely to get past all of that. And boy, another large wreck involving multiple drivers. I don't think many playoff drivers, but at least a couple of drivers that were running pretty well up here before this came out. And
cautions do breed cautions, as they say in the real NASCAR world. So we're seeing it here at Kansas Motor Speedway. So yeah.
Hunter Johnson will be your leader. He took over the lead from Aaron Maroney. Aaron Maroney had a little bit of a chance to take that race lead. He got it momentarily, and then Hunter Johnson took it right back on the inside. So he is certified as your leader when the field was frozen and the caution came out. Looks like SPG lining positions 2 and 3 behind a proximity driver. We've seen this a couple times, and possibly with a Peak Performance Motorsports, as you see some drivers getting off of pit road. I think that was Dane Cruz in that group. It looks to be, that's Nick Miller off pit road. Also Blaze McKinney. It looks to be, I think, Darren Myers as well. Lots of drivers off pit road. There's Parker White there as well. So I think this was a battle off pit road. Maybe drivers deciding to get those tires, or maybe just a little bit of service. I think the 87 might have had some damage off that wreck. Yeah, he actually does some rear end damage for the 87. So definitely some issues there for the 87. I think maybe he was trying to get that fixed, and I think he's going back down pit road to get that situated, and looks like he doesn't. So don't think he's going to get that damage fixed just yet. Maybe trying to save a fast repair for later in this running. So another yellow in this race. So lap number 33. We're not even halfway through this event, and already 3 cautions have been, and cautions continue to breed cautions, as you said, Charlie.
Can't complain about the racing that we had up front, though. It was fun to watch these guys, and you know, on that last long run where Blaze McKinney and Nick Miller were also up front, they were throwing slide jobs at each other, and you know, fighting for position really hard. You know, it was really good to see, but unfortunately, it seems like we just keep running into yellow flags.
Still running into yellow flags. We haven't seen this. We've seen this a couple of times through this series. I know you and I, Charlie, have covered the series the entire season through, and we've seen lots of caution fests, lots of events where cautions have been the tail of the tail, and it's been pretty much everything for these races, and it has changed the way these races are raced, I guess, as you could say, with these drivers. At least trying to strategize around the yellows, maybe trying to bank on those yellows in terms of strategy. We're going to step away for a quick moment and take a quick commercial break, and as soon as we come right back, we'll have green flag action for you live from the Kansas Speedway. Hunter Johnson currently leading, Aaron Maroney right behind, Sartaj Mann, P3. You're watching the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series from KBueno Racing Network. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway, where Hunter Johnson, Aaron Maroney will lead the field back to green. Lap number 34. We had a quick commercial break. We got the 1 to green signal as soon as we did. Thought we had a little more time on our hands, but nonetheless, the field is into turn number 1 with Hunter Johnson commanding this field. Looks like everyone goes single file and some bunched up near the rear of this field. Hunter Johnson will try to defend his race lead from Aaron Maroney and Sartaj Mann, who seem to be the newer contenders to try and fight for laps led. Cole Woody will be behind them as well as they approach the first lap of this restart off turn number 4. Aaron Maroney will have the draft. We'll see if he tries to make a move into turn 1.
Two SPG teammates, second and third right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they come up and help each other. Aaron to the high side, now to the low side into the corner here. Sartaj Mann looking to help. Aaron taps the apron a little bit. That'll send him up the track. Here comes his teammate right to the bottom. Sartaj Mann also corner right behind. Also JJ Hill, the highest running play up there.
currently in the midst of all of these non-playoff drivers who are not at effect for the championship. There is Blaze McKinney on the top of Brady Wheelman. Looks like he has picked up, as well as Nick Miller. So those two went down pit road to get service. They fell to the back of the field. They immediately picked up where they left off, and they're going to try to gain some positions along the way, but very crowded through turns 1 and 2, as Hunter Johnson has had his hands full with Aaron Mulrooney and Sartaj Mon right behind him, trying to gain on every second and take every advantage. Now here comes Aaron Mulrooney to the bottom. I don't think he's got enough, and it looks like Cole Woody will try to make a move to the top. I think he's got the space.
Aaron shuts the door on the high side up to the wall there, and that'll keep him from getting to the outside. He might be to the outside right now. We could be through right for second place. No, just Aaron Mulrooney right there. Also JJ Hill and Blaze McKinney here come up to the outside, and Nick Miller. It's kind of like a race to the front between the 87 and the 88 there. They've been going up side by side through this entire field. They're about to break into the top front.
And Blaze McKinney is used to seeing this. He did this exactly at Chicagoland a couple weeks back, where he had the freshest tires. He carved through the entire field to take the race lead on the final lap off the final corner. Doesn't look to be the same situation still early in this race. He is still trying to make some space through these guys ahead of him. I know the 014 and the 49 were just scrambling. They really have no space to go, as now Sartaj is going to look to the bottom of Aaron Mulrooney. I'm not sure whether he has the momentum. He does not. Cole Woody will take advantage to the high side, as Miller and Blaze McKinney, the two highest playoff drivers right now, side by side.
Yeah, the two highest and the two newest tires on those two cars. Everyone behind them, everyone around them have older tires, and these guys just have 8 laps. They're going to up themselves. They got 3 wide. Nick Miller's trying to get ahead of him, trying to get to the front faster, but McKinney once again shuts the door.
And that's a thing, a recurring thing we're seeing here at Kansas. You see drivers getting momentum and then getting the door shut on them, and they don't really have, they kind of stall out a little bit and don't have enough to move into a position, try to get into a spot. As you see now, the 87 has worked his way up to second. It looks like Nick Miller will not follow. He'll try to stick in with this main group and get the advantage on the high side. As soon as run it, contact! Blaze McKinney's around with Aaron Mulrooney. Looks like they all save it. No yellow, but damage to all of those race cars. Aaron Mulrooney is up to the outside wall. He has damage on his Toyota Camry, but they're still green, as looks like Nick Miller's strategy kind of played off to his benefit. And actually nobody is near Hunter Johnson whatsoever. Nick Miller got by all of that to be in second. Large gap between first and second, all the way back to Cole Woody in third. And Blaze McKinney had a very scary moment. I'm surprised he kept that straight and he did not go around. He's still in the midst of this field, Charlie.
And damage to the right side of that vehicle. We're gonna go ahead and try to get a replay of this one, because that was an insane save by all these drivers. Big thumbs up to all these guys for keeping it green there, but looks like Blaze McKinney is just gonna suffer because of it.
We'll take the replay. Here was contact, I think, with the 49 and the 014. They were in this line. I think he was just trying to side draft. The 49 goes a little bit low, and they get contact. It looked like the 87 was going to go around, but he did not. He was able to keep it straight, and then you see the rest of the field just trying to scramble past. There's the 019 of Eli O'Quinn. There was Corey Hart's in this mix. Aiden Kirker is in here as well. Lots of drivers he had to go through, at least trying to get around this wreck. Luckily, they were able to do so. No yellow. Looks like Hunter Johnson will continue to retain this lead as we approach midway through this race.
And a big gap separating this top 5. And one of the persons who also benefited, stayed clean through that entire fiasco, is JJ Hill. Currently sitting at the top 5 as of right now. But Blaze McKinney looking for a bit of a recovery. He gained a few spots. I believe he dropped just right outside the top 10. But right now he's 8th place, trying to pass his team owner, Corey Hart, that number 57 Camry. So it only makes it so much worse having to run the wall here, but trying to give a few bumps in that 57.
And that 57 is his fellow teammate. That's his team owner, actually, Corey Hart, the owner of Peak Performance Motorsports and the owner of the team entirely, and his teammate is running for a championship. Maybe Corey's going to try to just let him by, maybe try and just at least give him a little bit of slack, knowing that they're part of the same team and that he's actually running for a championship. Here is the highest, the second highest current playoff driver on the field right now, apart from Nick Miller. That's the 08 of JJ Hill, who has stayed up there the entire race, but looks like we've got a battle for the race lead. Looks like the highest running playoff driver, Nick Miller, has breached to the back bumper of that 12 Ford Mustang, so he's going to try something possibly in the 1 and 2. I don't think he's got the momentum. He has the draft out of 2. He might have the large run to make a move, possibly the outside if he can get there.
Nick needs these points a lot. He's currently sitting 4th on the playoff board, 0 points. He's on the cutoff line as of right now. Slide job for the race lead, cutting the top around here. Crossover by the 12 car, new race leader Nick Miller, but the 12 car takes it right back.
We'll see who's able to lead that lap. Looks like Hunter is able to get by off of turn 4. Nick Miller almost had that, and the lap led at least to the 88's name, but looks like it's not going to last for very long, and he's going to hit the reset button. Try one more time to get around your race leader. This is currently one of the best battles we're seeing out of the racetrack. It's a couple seconds to the 43 of Mark Love, who's sitting 3rd right now, who was able to get through this entire group, now battling with Aiden Kirker, still side by side between the two Camaros, and then you go all the way back to JJ Hill in 5th in this top 5. Looks to the rest of this field pretty much spread out. Shane DiMantova also had his fast repair, but look at the large crowd behind this group, behind the 42 of Cole Williams. All of them spread together with Blaze McKinney in the middle.
Almost 4 wide entering that corner there. You see Joe Burge, who leads him on with front end damage. But wow, that's a big group of cars right there.
Blaze McKinney going to have his hands full. Again, now that this run is developing, that outside lane is everything. You're going to have to try and get up there in order to get momentum off the corners and at least contend with the rest of the group. We see some drivers looking low, but it doesn't seem to be the best way around, and it kind of wears your tires a little more, as if you stay all the way up to the wall. We got a caution lap 49. Looks to be Peter Kenny around on the front straightaway. 4th yellow of the evening, belongs to that 35. And looks like that'll trigger another yellow and re-rack the entire field as they were spread out. We'll take a replay, see exactly what happened. This was the 35 in this group that we were just talking about. Looks almost 4 wide with Jack DeAndrea there. And then just goes around off of turn number 4. Here's contact. That's Eli O'Quinn there. Dane Cruz. And then 35 goes into the wall. I think the others were able to keep it together. I'm not sure. We'll see how they fare out. Here's on board with Jack DeAndrea. Oh boy.
Just barely avoids that one.
Very, very close for that 28. So another yellow halfway through this race, and looks like it's the best time to go through the field, but I think we'll just kind of wait until they go down pit road if they try to, because I know they're already got the laps worn out on these tires. They're definitely going to want those 4 fresh tires and fuel to stay good, possibly until the end of this race, and at least re-rack and try to have a better run and be able to use more of the racetrack. So the rest of the field going to come down pit road. Hunter Johnson will lead them all. We'll see if anyone stays out.
Big line of cars coming down pit road here. A couple guys trying to get their laps back. And we'll see who wins the race off of pit road here, because like we said, track position is really, really important. I wouldn't be surprised if people like Blaze McKinney actually pulled the trigger on their fast repair as he got caught up in that wreck.
Yeah, remember, Blaze McKinney and Nick Miller both stayed an extensive time on pit road to at least get something underway, at least something fixed on the race car. And they had that extra time. They fell all the way to the back of the field, then picked all the way back up. We'll see if they do the same thing this time by. It looks like Nick Miller does not. Hunter Johnson will be the first off pit road. Aiden Kirker will come through in 2nd. Nick Miller 3rd. Mark Love 4th. Berge, Cole Williams. Looks like Blaze McKinney will fall all the way back behind Shane DiMantova in the middle of himself and JJ Hill. Here are the rest of the drivers off of pit road. There's Eli O'Quinn involved in an incident. Brady Williman is back there as well. So a continuation of this race lead for Hunter Johnson, and it continues to stay true, and he continues to lead pretty much almost every lap in this race. And I think the only driver to stay out was Dane Cruz, but I'm very, very confident that he'll go down pit road. He has that damage on his Toyota Camry from that incident with Eli O'Quinn, Peter Kenny, so he will go down pit road, and he will try to get his damage fixed. So the new leader, Hunter Johnson, and perfect timing that the caution came out around this time, because we'll try to get through this field and see where everyone is midway through the race and go through the field. Starting with the first driver in first right now, Proximity Racing's Hunter Johnson in number 12, won 2 races in a row at Darlington and Las Vegas, picked up those wins there. He kind of had an absence from the series a couple races, then came back. He has been picked up where he left off on his race win. He's trying to look for his 3rd in this series. Charlie.
Behind him, Aiden Kirker, we saw him win on the KBRN Racing Network earlier today, and the LWRC Cup Series at Dover. They're racing tomorrow as well, so he's hoping to go 2 in a row here. Currently sitting 2nd right now, ran very consistent through that last run, and and he's hoping to pull off a good finish here.
Sled back to third, and that is the highest playoff driver currently on track. Was trying to fight for the race lead later in that run before the yellow came out. That's Nick Miller in the 88. Currently running a phenomenal race, I'd say, if you were the 88. Not really much contact. He has a little bit of damage. He has been able to stay out of trouble so far, but anything can happen. So far, looking good. All and dandy for that 88 car.
But I am Mark Love. Yeah, currently sitting fourth. I can't really think of anything to say because yeah, he's ran very consistently throughout the last couple of Bundren Lawn Care Series races. He hasn't really pulled off the finishes to really show for it, but currently sitting fourth, my bad, just inside the top 5.
And then you look to the inside of the top 5 where Joe Berge sits, and he got into an incident earlier in this race, had that damage, got it fixed back up. He's moved up to the beginning of this row, in the first couple of rows actually. So a good run for the 83 so far. He had a tough running at the end of the Talladega race where he got wrecked out with Benjamin Fanning. So he's looking for a little bit of redemption this time around. Currently sitting 5th. Very good spot for the 83.
Right behind him, another KBRN regular, races with us in the LWRC Cup Series and the Bundren Lawn Care Series sometimes. Cole Williams in the Kelly Oubre O'Meal picked up, I believe, a win or two in that other series over there, and is hoping to pull it off once again here. He was very consistent at the Roval, ran in the top 5 all race, and had the results to show for it as well. So currently sitting right outside the top 5, hoping for a good run when we go back green.
And then back to 7th is the race winner from last week, and barely got it over Brody Gardner, Shane DiMantova. Going to try to continue his momentum at least. He got involved in an incident, got his faster pair, so he is out back with a clean race car. And going to try to gain some positions along the way and possibly try to get 2 in a row if he's able to for SPG Esports. So I believe the field is doubling up now. I think we'll take the green flag very, very soon with Hunter Johnson and Aiden Kirker at the front of this field. And no, actually still yellow. So I thought we got the 1 to green signal at that time, but I think now we do, and we do. So we'll look back to 8th right behind Shane DiMantova.
Yeah, currently sitting 8th is Blaze McKinney. Led 2 laps today, battling for the lead with people by the likes of Hunter Johnson and Nick Miller. So really consistent driver, been consistent all season. Currently sitting 2nd in the points standings as of right now. So he's just hoping to stay consistent and hoping he'll be there at Phoenix because that's one of his best racetracks.
Then back to 8th, you'll find JJ Hill, another playoff driver, looking for a better run. Currently sitting just 1 spot out of the Champ 4. Going to try and get some points along the way and at least set himself up for the next couple of races, sitting 9th.
And we'll finish it off here, right outside the top, right inside the top 10. Cole Whitty in that 014 car, another very consistent driver who just can't really show the results for it. You know, he's ran up front a couple times in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series, but once again, just can't pull off the finishes he needs. I believe he finished top 5 a couple times and scored an interview with us, but hoping for another one tonight as we're about to go back racing here.
Hunter Johnson, Aiden Kirker will be the first 2 in a row 1. Then goes Nick Miller, Mark Love will follow row through Berge and Cole Williams into row 3. Good jump by the 12 of Hunter Johnson. He's going to take back this race lead as we go green. Lap number 55 already just halfway through this race. Nick Miller will use that inside and take over 2nd very quickly over Aiden Kirker as they almost go 3 wide into turn 1. Hunter Johnson still with a convincing lead off turn 2 in the back straightaway.
Miller, the highest of the playoff drivers right now, but Blaze McKinney is trying to catch up to him as of right now. Looks like Blaze McKinney, not Blaze McKinney, Joe Berge down low to help him. That'll leave Aiden Kirker and Cole Williams, 2 LWRC drivers up top, but gonna challenge back for the race lead. Here comes the 88 of Nick Miller, and we saw this early in the race, but they're back up front. It's the 12 versus 88 versus 87.
And now the 87 doesn't have to carve through anybody else unless it's these 2 up front. Looks like the 88 got into the apron, had to stall out a little bit there. That'll allow Blaze McKinney to take over 2nd, and contact between him and the race leader, Hunter Johnson, almost could have been big. Looks like they'll stay side by side into turn 3. Mark Love will use the outside to try to pick up P3. It doesn't look to be the same. They'll still side by side. We'll see who leads this lap. I think Hunter still has it over the 87. They'll still stick side by side. Miller is going to try to help the fellow playoff driver down low.
At the line, it was a tie, saying on my telemetry right here. Blaze McKinney looking to go back for the race lead, battling back on the inside. So high line is very dominant as of right now, but that's not saying that the inside line can pull off.
Mark Love still on the outside with help from Aiden Kirker, and now Shane DiMantova, who I think almost tried to make it 3 wide with Berge, and the aid of Kirker wasn't not enough. Blaze McKinney's now still peeking to the inside. He's got a peek at the quarter panel, and now back to the inside he goes. But still later in this run, we're going to see drivers peek to the high side as we had a 3 wide move. Beautiful move executed by the 20 of Shane DiMantova, was able to get around Aiden Kirker and Cole Woody at the same time. Now going to use the high line to try and go above Joe Berge, as now Nick Miller is going to try to battle for second on top of Blaze McKinney. Looks like he doesn't have the space. Now to the inside on the front straightaway.
And clipping the grass there, almost got into the 87 of Blaze McKinney. That could have been awful for that 87, who already used his faster pair in this race, but also Joe Berge looking down at the inside for the third position. For the stuff we've seen him in this series. Besides, I believe at Talladega last week, he ran out front for a good bit of time, and I believe he led some laps there as well, but Highline is really going to start to showcase its dominance as these tires wear out. And we're going to come to just 41 laps to go. Nick Miller looking 3 wide.
Berge taking over second over both the 88 and the 87, but the 87 using the high line. Nick Miller tried to look low under the 87 off of turn 2 going into turn 3, but he really did not have the space or really the momentum to continue that going. Now it looks like Berge will try to stick to the bottom and capture second place. I don't think he's got the momentum now that the outside will be the dominant lane. Almost contact between the two. He'll wash up the track just a little bit. That'll definitely leave Hunter Johnson with a good cushion to stay up front as they continue to battle 2 wide throughout all the way back to Cole Woody.
The Berge is kind of in a weird spot right now because those 2 playoff guys right behind him are trying to get to the front. These 2, they're going to take it all the way to Phoenix if they run consistently. These 2 are probably going to be the 2 battling for the championship. Also, Parker White added in that statement as well, but he's currently running outside the top 20 as of right now, trying to maybe stay a little bit conservative and trying to, he's out of faster pair, so if he wrecks, it's over for him.
He's probably looking for a longer run strategy, but the cautions really haven't helped his case. They've been able to come out, and he's kind of forced to go down pit road unless he wants to get freight trained by the drivers on the fresh tires, and he definitely does not want to be in the same position that he has been in Chicago and Las Vegas and a couple other races where he's tried that strategy. It has not worked out, but Hunter Johnson's still in command of this field. Berge's done a great job of staying to the bottom, and he's stayed with the 87. He hasn't fallen back, and he hasn't kind of fallen to the momentum. He hasn't succumbed to it yet. I think now is where the outside will start to be the prevailing line, and he'll have to kind of find an opening on the outside to at least just stay there. He really hasn't been able to find one as Mark Love now gets the draft on these 2. Now looks like Nick Miller will make it 3 wide for P2 off turn 2.
These guys are just hugging the top line. Joe Berge has to be questioning his tire wear as of right now because he's stuck on the bottom unless he finds a slot up behind the 43 and in front of the 20 car. I don't know if he'll be there at the end.
He has to find an opening. He had one right in between Mark Love and Shane DiMantova, but that has closed up very quickly, so still to the inside is the 83. That is not going to help his tire wear situation whatsoever. I think he's almost found it, but he has not. Mark Love still peeks at the outside, but the top 3, 12, 87, 88, all 3 of them together, they've spread themselves out up to Berge and Mark Love. And Miller, who was contending with Hunter Johnson in that long run, is going to try to pressure that 87, saying, let's go, it's go time to catch the 12. The 2 highest playoff drivers running right now. I think you have to go all the way back to J.J. Hill. Still the highest playoff driver other than these 2, the 87 and the 88.
Like we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Ezekiel Reyes is not starting. He's not even racing here tonight, and he's currently, he's currently, I believe, the last playoff driver in the standings as of right now. So I think he might be out of it not starting this race tonight. So yeah, it's just going to be Keelan Belsha and JJ Hill trying to fight for that last playoff spot and trying to make it into the Final Four.
Yeah, after the race at Talladega last week, those 3 drivers were eliminated. It was Preston Cope, Jackson Hartman, Henry Tabor. So that leaves Ezekiel Reyes, Keelan Belsha, and J.J. Hill to fight for the final spot as Miller, Glenn Bundren, Blaze McKinney, and Parker White are the 4 that are safe that were coming into this race. Of course, that's probably going to change significantly now that Parker White is outside of this top 20. He hasn't had the best race so far. but maybe trying to have something under his sleeve at the moment. But he kind of has to hurry up. He kind of has to press the gas pedal a little harder and kind of go, because if we stay in this run, we're going to have 30 laps left until the end of this race, and Parker White might not have enough time to get up through this field and challenge and at least get a better finish out of this so he doesn't lose too many points down the road.
So yeah, Parker White is currently 17th right now. He's 5 points behind or ahead of JJ Hill on the cutoff spot. So, or no, sorry, Parker White is actually first in points. So he has a 15-point or a 20-point cushion to the cutoff right now. So right now, unless I'm trying to calculate these points as I go, and I'm not doing really well.
Yeah, but still, Parker White still has a little bit of a cushion in his points. But I was going to mention at the top of the show is there's Keelan Belcher with damage, and the top two in P2, P3 are now starting to fight for second. Parker White, you know, he had that that cushion going in as Blaze McKinney's in the wall. Both playoff drivers involved in an incident, and another caution triggered. Cole Williams is also involved as well, and the drivers that were battling for position number 2 end up around on the back straightaway. Caution out once again, damage to both of those race cars.
And that is not good for the 87 or the 88 of Blaze McKinney. And this is what Parker White right behind him with a clean race car. That's what he wanted to see. And now he can focus on advancing his points. So it looks like Blaze McKinney is going to come down to a closed pit. He'll get a penalty. This is a sign that it could be the end of his run tonight.
Oh man, the 87 had a strong running in the beginning of this race. We'll take a replay. It was within this top 2, and they were battling for second. Hunter Johnson will continue to gap his lead as they were battling. It was not really helping their situation to catch this 12 in the first place, but regardless, they were still battling. You see the 87, he tried to make a slide job, but I think the gap just closed just too much, and then by that time they had already made fender contact. And then the 87 goes into the wall. The 88 had to save the race car. I think he survived with minimal damage. The 87 was certainly the one that had the worst. Cole Williams was too late into the party. He got a piece of that as well. So all of those drivers with damage, and the 87, who has looked so strong throughout this entire season, now onto pit road, not looking great for that 87 machine.
And I believe this is his first DNF, I believe, maybe since Daytona. Obviously, he didn't start Talladega race, so wow, it's, you know, like we said, these playoffs are not forgiving. Even if you have just one bad round, you're out.
And as we were looking at him down pit road, here is the rest of the field behind Hunter Johnson, the drivers that did survive this wreck. But pretty much everyone apart from Cole Williams got away with this unscathed. So Hunter Johnson will be the first off pit road. Shane DiMantova will be second. Mark Love has peaked into the top 3. Aiden Kirker 4th. Cole Woody 5th. And then the first playoff driver now in this board is JJ Hill. There is Nick Miller with damage. He doesn't have as much, so he is able to kind of stay down pit road, get that fixed, and he is now off of pit road. The 87 not faring better. He has to stay there for a while to get all that fixed, and I'm not sure whether he does have his faster pair. I think this might just be the end of the 87's night. Certainly not what they were looking for. They were looking for a better run. There's the 88 with front end damage, and that leaves JJ Hill to be the highest playoff driver, and he's been trading positions with the 88 and the 87. Now that they have damage, Charlie, I think the 08 is pretty much having a perfect night.
Yeah, he's running very consistent, but back to the 88, that front end damage is a sign that he could have engine damage, and if that knocks him down a few RPMs or even just like, you know, 50, he'll be quite off the pace as we get back going green here. So just trying to salvage a day or whatever he can out of whatever this race was for him. But this is also beneficial for Keelan Belcher as well, who is currently being scored behind him. Oh, I guess he's on pit road.
And he's got his faster pair. So Keelan Belcher now with the faster pair. It looks like I think he's taking advantage of what those drivers have in terms of damage. So he'll gain position on Blaze McKinney from now on. And the 18 gonna get that faster pair. He was definitely saving it through this race. He had the damage from the first wreck. He had some of the things, and he had some damage from that incident, and he picked it up along the way. But looks like he has now saved it for the last stint of the race, which he believes might be it. So he's got the clean race car to his advantage, so he's going to try to reset this now back around. So Hunter Johnson still leading this field. It's pretty much been everyone behind Hunter Johnson, not really anybody taking the lead convincingly. We've had a couple drivers challenge for the top spot, but the 12 has always been able to get back around, no matter whatever strategy he's used or whatever option he's tried to get. He's always been successful. So that 12 still maintaining fast in P1, looking to get a third win in this series. He's not a playoff driver, so he won't be affected, at least in terms of the playoffs. He won't lock himself in or anything, just for the wins at least, and just for having that and being dominant over the rest of this field. And Shane DiMantova, we saw him get damage early on, but he has been pretty consistent ever since. He got that damage fixed, and I think he knows that he kind of is confident in himself that he was able to get back up this field, and he has. And certainly down pit road, he has been quick, and he's been able to get by lots of these drivers, like Mark Love, like Blaze McKinney at some points, and Nick Miller. So now that they have damage, that puts him in a second. Mark Love will be third. And Charlie, we talked about this when we were going through the field, at least you mentioned it. Mark Love has had a pretty consistent run in this series the past couple of weeks. I know he's been involved in some incidents. I know at Talladega kind of gave him a jinx, said he was running well, and then he got into a wreck 5 seconds later. But Mark Love has been running well. I won't say that he hasn't been running well at all. I think he's picked up through the later portion of the season, and he's been able to at least stay within top 5, top 10s, and have a chance at least for those points. And at least, definitely will be a good momentum setter through the rest of the season, and especially going into next season where he'll have a reset button. Everyone will be on the same playing field. He'll have the option to go into the playoffs, and he might make a shot at a championship next season if he runs. And Aiden Kirker, we saw him on the KBueno Racing Network earlier a couple hours back, where he won at Dover International Speedway, and he is trying to look for 2 in a row, but he's got a couple drivers to get by, and he has been facing with that challenge ever since the drop of the green flag. But nonetheless, I think a phenomenal start. I think he's very proud with what KBueno Racing is doing today. First place, a 1-2 at Dover earlier today, and probably looking for a better finish for KBueno Racing in tonight's event, and trying to go 2 for 2 on Monday, as Blaze McKinney is back out but with heavy damage, so he would definitely not be as quick as the drivers up front, currently standing 22nd behind fellow teammate and playoff driver Glenn Bundren, who's been in the back all race. And very interesting situation at hand. I'm very curious to see what these drivers do, especially I'm looking mostly at JJ Hill and Parker White. Parker White's a couple rows deep, but he can definitely gain points, and he can gain spots throughout this run like he has done a couple times. And I'm confident that he's able to do so, because he's definitely got the speed to do it. And we'll see if he's able to try and do that, or maybe he's going to try and continue his strategy, staying further back, and maybe has something up his sleeve. We'll just have to find out. Pace car is down pit road. That means Hunter Johnson, Shane DiMantova will lead the field back to the restart on lap number 75. And another good jump by the 12 has put him in front of the rest of the field, and has set the tone for every single run here throughout. We'll see if he's able to keep it above Shane DiMantova, as Mark Love looks to the inside. Did not have enough. Now momentum slides with the 83 of Joe Berge and Aiden Kirker. They'll try to work all together through turn 2. Lots of them grouped up. They're 3 wide behind them, Charlie.
Yeah, my eyes are going to be on that 95 of Parker White throughout this run, because I think it is go time. We just have 25 laps to go left in this race. I think it's time for him to try to get up there and possibly score a top 5 finish, further advancing his points lead, trying to get around these cars as of right now. So right now it's Hunter Johnson here, the Evo Sport driver, or SPG driver, Shane DiMantova following suit, but Joe Berge right behind him. A couple guys battling are behind them.
Yeah, these are all non-playoff drivers. Once again, you have to look back to JJ Hill to get a playoff driver in sight, right side of Corey Hart, as they're battling 2 by 2, with Sartaj Nam being the extra outlier, as Joe Berge goes to the outside. They're 3 wide for position behind Cole Woody. I think they'll be able to make it work. I think Joe Berge is going to fall back behind Mark Love, and he does. Meanwhile, that 20 of Shane DiMantova has been peeking to the back bumper. He might be a new challenger for Hunter Johnson. Maybe successful on his front. We'll have to see. He's got the draft, and early in this run, the fresh tires mean everything.
The Super Speedway racer trying to prove himself on the 1.5-mile racetrack of Kansas Speedway here. He's doing so pretty well as of right now, just currently sitting second, but he's running into a problem that a lot of these guys throughout the season have been running into, is how in the world do I get around Hunter Johnson? Peeking to the inside here, he will have the spot, almost hits the apron there, and almost makes contact with him, but still side by side down the back straightaway.
So side by side for the race lead, once again, Hunter Johnson has been the prevailer of every single one. He's been the victor. We'll see if he ends up victorious this time around. Shane DiMantova still to the inside, still trying to make it work, but he's also wearing his tires in the process. That'll allow Cole Woody to look to the outside with help from Mark Love, Aiden Kirker, Sartaj, all the way back to Joe Berge in this first group. They've all caught up, now trying to use the high line. This is a large group working all the way back, and we got another yellow on the racetrack. We'll see who's involved. Looks like Peter Kenny once again with hard damage on that Toyota Camry.
We'll go ahead and get a replay here. But this is going to push us into a 20-lap stint, and the question is, we got 8 laps on our tires. Will anyone pit?
And that's a good point, Charlie, because if we have drivers pit, we'll definitely have differing drivers on different strategies trying to work together. We'll see a replay. Here was a group where Peter Kenny was prior to this yellow. There's Nick Miller in this mix, and contact with Nick Miller, actually. More damage for him in the 88. Eli O'Quinn involved, and then Peter Kenny overcorrects. Darren Myers also involved in there as well. Parker White escapes with no damage, and here's on board with Parker White. He just had to go all the way low to the racetrack to avoid that one. And I think Mitch Hobbs also with damage as well. And another incident on lap 80 pushes us into a 20-lap stint up to the end of the race. So that leaves more drivers with damage that'll be behind Parker White. So slowly but surely gaining positions along the way. And even though they have damage and they're currently in front of him as the field was frozen, he's going to gain position anyway, as looks like the 2 leaders stay out. Rest of them, I think, kind of go in. Actually, no.
So Sartaz man jumps in for some tires. Mitch Hobbs down pit road again. Also, Eli Quinn, Nick Miller, and Parker White. And I saw Parker White not really trying to advance his position throughout that run, but I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise because the cars he would have to pass for that position wrecked. Like Nick Miller, all those guys, they made contact. So
yeah,
just still trying to be conservative here. I don't know if he's going to try to pull the trigger soon to try to get up front, but if he comes out of pit road first, he's going to be inside the top 10.
And Nick Miller pulled the trigger on the faster pair, so he's got the faster pair now. He's going to have a clean race car. There's Sartaj and Corey Hartz out of pit road. There's Nick Miller. We'll see if Parker White goes right behind, and he does. So there's Parker White, and he is able to gain spots along the way. You saw Parker White. He's been conservative all race, but now that the yellows are coming his way, we're having drivers ahead of him that are getting into trouble, that are getting damage. That means they have to go down pit road to get damage fixed, especially if they don't have a faster pair. So then they'll kind of be out of luck and they have to spend extra time on pit road. So Parker White slowly gaining positions even though they have damage in front of him. As soon as they go down to get the damage fixed, Parker White is looking for the clean race car, going way by them and gaining positions and gaining points along the way. So definitely softening the blow this time for the 95. I think he's kind of got a good idea in mind, and he's definitely kept it up his sleeve for a good portion of this race. And he's got fresh tires with the guys in front of him. So it is another war of fresh tires versus old tires on this 20-lap stint, Charlie. I was going to ask you this before we had the technical issues. If we had more time in the pre-race, I was going to ask you if you expected another fresh tire versus old tire war, and whether we were going to see drivers differing like this, having strategies like this, and having battles with each other like we saw at the other 1.5 milers. And at this point in the race, we've pretty much gone into this race well in. Charlie, do you think that war will still rage on?
Well, it's starting to be like that. The leaders, everyone who did pit only has 11 laps on their tires, and the cars behind them just pitted, starting with Sartaj Man in 9th place. So I think these guys are going to be charging up to the front like we saw earlier with Nick Miller. He's in that same spot right now. I didn't realize he had his faster pair. I thought he was done after that wreck, but it surprised me there. There's no way of keeping track of that. So yeah, looks like we're going to restart with 15 laps to go, and it's all that matters if that 88 and maybe the 95 can get up there and gain even more points.
It's going to be a testament to see how that 95 is able to gain spots. He's currently ahead of Keelan Belsha, Glenn Bundren, so he's definitely gaining points on them. And if he stays ahead of them, he won't lose any points to them. So he'll be in a safe spot, at least coming out of this round, if he stays where he is, ahead of those 2 drivers. So a very interesting situation we'll see with the 95. And of course the 88, who got his faster pair, so he's all clean. He doesn't have really any damage to worry about anymore. unless he gets into contact with any drivers up ahead. So he has another opportunity to carve through this field if he so chooses, and that's definitely probably what he's going to try to do to gain more points on the points leader right behind him. So we'll see how that shakes out all together. But meanwhile, we have so many non-playoff drivers in this main group that have dominated a good portion of this race. Apart from Blaze McKinney and Nick Miller, we've seen pretty much everyone else that are non-playoff drivers be up front, take chances, and they've taken risks. We've seen drivers like Shane DiMantova pull off some moves. We saw Joe Berge in this group. Of course, Hunter Johnson, not a playoff driver either. He's been just there for the domination. Cole Woody has gotten some good finishes off of this. So it's going to be interesting. Still 17 laps to go. We're going to get another start. It's going to be lots of fun, and especially as these drivers scramble around in the early green flag stage.
And the question is, can anybody pass the 12 car? We've seen it in a good portion of the races throughout the season here. When he's leading here, it looks like people just can't find their way around him. And Hunter, obviously a very skilled driver, and does really well for himself on the iRacing official side of things. So we'll just have to see if Shane or Cole or any of these guys can do it. Especially, the guys on new tires are starting ninth on back. If they can catch up, what can they do?
All dependent on what happens from here on out. If we get more yellows, we'll just have to see, and if we stay green from here on out, we're just going to have to find out. We're just going to have to stay watching and kind of be patient and see whether these drivers have that urge to go up to the front and maybe make some more bolder moves, and possibly could result in wrecks and could result in more contact between drivers, and possibly could involve drivers up front. We've seen it already through this race. Not surprised if it happens again. So Hunter Johnson, Shane DiMantova will be the first drivers on row number 1, Proximity versus Evo SimSport and SBG. Then Cole Woody will follow through in second. He's the second Ford Mustang in this group, and a Camaro up, the first Camaro in this field. Currently Aiden Kirker at the top of row number 2. Pace car will come off the pit road. We'll have another restart. Lap number 85. Will this be the final run to the end? We'll just have to find out. Green flag and a good start by Hunter Johnson once again. He's been able to do it every single time. And Cole Woody will look to the bottom of Shane DiMantova, all bunched up into turn 1.
Shane did not get the restart that he wanted there, and that allows people like Mark Love and Cole Woody and also Joe Berge to start making their moves. Aiden Kirker to the bottom of the racetrack, and up the racetrack goes the 08, and through the middle. Will that work?
And the 08 is in the wall off turn 4. He's losing spots now to, guess what, the 95 of Parker White and Nick Miller. So he's in the group with the 3 playoff drivers. They're 3 wide for position up there. But meanwhile, Cole Woody is trying to make a charge up front. He's made contact with the race leader off turn 2. Joe Berge is going to look by 3 wide for the race lead.
Almost 4 wide. The 43 looks down there. Looks like that 12 car is suffering right here. 3 wide, it's getting tight. Will they make it to the other side of the corner? Here comes Nick Miller barging his way up through the pack. Is he going to look 4 wide down the tri-oval? Joe Berge could lead this lap. Almost contact with the 12 car, and up the racetrack he goes into the wall.
Lots of crashes. There is Cole Woody. Hunter Johnson involved with damage. Berge, I think, escaped out of that one, and we're still green flag. So Hunter Johnson, now the caution comes out. I think more drivers involved, or possibly someone was up the track. There is Aiden Kirker with heavy damage, and Hunter Johnson, after leading so much of this race, now has hard damage to the right side of that 12 machine. Gonna have to get that fixed. That'll spend them a little extra time. We'll take a replay. Here was the entire field in this first group. Altogether, there was Cole Woody to the inside. He made contact initially with the 12 of Hunter Johnson. That just moved him up the racetrack. No harm, no foul. There comes Joe Berge to the inside. And Aiden Kirker, Mark Love to help the top. And then this is going off of turn 3 and 4. I was surprised they all kept it together. There was Nick Miller in this group. And then I believe here is the contact as soon as they were going down the front straightaway. Hunter Johnson just there and contact between him in the 83. And then into the outside wall he went. And there goes Aiden Kirker, hard hit into the inside wall. We did not see that as they were crashing through the start-finish line. Cole Woody also had a wild ride through the grass, went a little Bundren Lawn Care style. They're going through the grass there, and that leaves more positions for Parker White, I think. But everyone down pit road. Looks like Mark Love will stay out. Berger will stay out. Miller stays out. A couple of drivers staying out. I think Mitch Hobbs or Cole Woody might be the first one down pit road.
Yeah, Mitch Hobbs, and looks like Shane T-Man Silva kind of got faked out there, and everyone, Cole Woody on back, who kind of got involved in that wreck. Looks like Hunter O. Johnson, furthest back we've ever seen him in an iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series race, going to possibly get his fastest pair. And you know, we're going to restart with less than 10 laps to go, so he'll try to charge up to the front, currently sitting 13th.
And he's possibly going to fall a little bit more from that, but I think he's got his faster pair. We'll see, and I think he has a clean race car now for the 12, and he's going to get some tires along the way, so he'll have fresh tires to his race car. Shane DiMantova will come out, as well as Aiden Kirker. They all get their faster pair, so they've been holding it to the end of this race, and I think now's their time to just pull the trigger and say, this is it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to try to keep it clean to the rest of this race. I'm going to hold it on myself to do it from here on out. 10-lap stint, so it could be very long or very short depending on what happens on the racetrack. If we get more yellows like this, we'll definitely be in for a wild ride and a longer ride to the end of this race, especially if it gets pushed with green-white checkered, which we have seen so many times in this series. Wouldn't be surprised if that trend continues at Kansas Speedway, or if we stay green all the way to the end and we have a fight and a dog fight for the drivers up front like we have seen on the short run. So there's Joe Berge leading laps in this race. He led laps at Talladega last week. Currently first, Mark Love and Miller, and I think the guys behind them pretty much all stayed out from there, so they have the oldest tires in this field. You have to look all the way back to, I believe, where Mitch Hobbs is behind Glenn Bundren to find the driver on fresh tires. So they have a lot of drivers to go through, but we've seen Miller do it. We've seen McKinney do it. Why not Hunter Johnson? We've seen Hunter Johnson just up front. Now it's an interesting storyline that he has more positions to pick up, and he has a kind of carve through the field to get back to the race lead.
Yeah, and this is going to be a wild dash to finish here. You know, we're going to restart towards towards just above 5 laps to go here. So Joe Berge leading, Mark Love second, Nick Miller, Sartaj Moran, Brady Bieleman currently sitting 5th right now. So I gotta ask, if we go green, and we do make it green to the end, predictions? Do you have any?
Oh boy, I think we kind of got to this point. It's pretty late in the race, so I think we could have predictions on our hands, but the unpredictability in this race has gone way up the charts. I was expecting Hunter Johnson to beat the favorite. I know that you and I probably agreed on that, but now that he's all the way back, he has to gain positions, and the question really is, how quickly can he do it? You know, we've seen drivers do it within a couple laps. Can Hunter Johnson do the same, and will he get caught in a drama on the way there? I think right now, best driver on the racetrack apart from that 12 is the 88 sitting 3rd, and Nick Miller. Charlie, you?
Yeah, Nick Miller's a good choice, but you know, Nick Miller and a couple others in the top 7 right now. I believe, well, the top 7 is kind of split. Half of them has 20-lap old tires, and half of them have 10. That 10 tire strategy includes Nick Miller, Sartaj Men, and Corey Hart. So I would have to go with Nick Miller's teammate, Sartaj Men in that 49 car. I think if they both get to the race lead, it's going to be them battling for the race win. And they know how to reach each other cleanly, and with all due respect, because they are teammates. So I think if they get out to the front, it's going to be a dogfight between those two. But I certainly would not count out people like Mark Love and Joe Berge. I don't see Joe Berge anymore, but if he is here, I would not count them out as well. Just because they're 10 laps old on tires doesn't mean they can't hold off this pack for just over 5 laps to go.
Yeah, you mentioned Joe Berge, and he has fallen all the way back. I'm not sure whether he might have had a penalty on the way or whether he just deciding to be all the way back in the field. And
I think,
yeah, he's letting everyone by, so I think sure it might be an EOL.
Yeah, they gave EOL penalties for the cause of the cautions, so I think they handed him one out to Joe Berge right now. So that's really unfortunate for him. He was running very, very consistently tonight. Hats off to him, but currently sitting 18th right now.
He's got a lot to pick up, especially behind the drivers on fresh tires who just made the trip down pit road. It starts there: Cole Woody, JJ Hill, Aiden Kirker, Hunter Johnson, then Mitch Hobbs, Shane DiMantova. Those drivers that went down pit road to get service, they're lining behind. Glenn Bundren and the 95 of Parker White. So maybe not too safe for that Toyota Camry. We'll just have to see. So that'll leave Mark Love, Nick Miller to be leading this field now when we got the 1 to green signal down the back straightaway. So we'll be momentarily going green flag racing on what could be the final run to the end of this race, to the checkered flag. I'm not sure whether we'll see that to the end, or if we see a checkered flag, or if we see yellow flags before we see the checkered flag, or if we see green white checkered on the way. We've had green white checkers all the way through, and if it goes down here, it'll be the kind of business as usual for a lot of these drivers. I think they're kind of accustomed to seeing green white checkered. So will yellow flags come out? It's just all dependent on what happens in the midfield. That seems to be where most of the causes of the wrecks happen, but it's just all dependent on what these drivers do. Mark Love, Nick Miller will lead the field to the green flag. Mark Love taking the lead for the first time this race. We're back green at Kansas. Here comes Sartaj, your pick, Charlie, to the inside of Nick Miller going into turn 1 as they fan out.
And for the race lead, Sartaj Man down the inside of the 43 of Mark Love. Nick Miller, his teammate, following suit. And to the race lead, both of our picks under that caution, Kenneth. To the race lead, the 47 and the 88. Sartaj Man will lead lap number 94. Just 7 laps to go here at Kansas Speedway.
Will Hunter Johnson have enough time? He's down to the inside of Parker White. Will he have enough laps to get around everybody and go back to this race lead? Now Sartaj has had a peek of the race lead for the first time this entire race with Nick Miller, his teammate, behind. Corey Hart's following suit. There's Hunter Johnson, 3 wide in the middle, on the bottom with Jack DeAndrea in the middle. Now up to, I believe, 6th place behind Brady Wheeleman, so he is picking up spots quick. And also Mitch Hobbs is as well. There's Parker White in the mix as well, so lots of drivers in this running. 6 laps to go here at Kansas. Still a battle for the race lead between the 2 SPG Esports drivers.
We saw it at Chicagoland where, contact! The 57 round of Corey Hart's down to the apron, and that's going to bring out yet another caution here. I was about to say, will it happen again? We saw that Chicagoland. Blaze McKinney on the new tires made a charge up to the front and took the win away from Hunter Johnson. But looks like he just got into the 57 there on the apron. That brought out the yellow flag.
And a yellow with 5 laps to go probably was the beneficiary for the 12 of Hunter Johnson and everyone who went down pit road before this green flag. They didn't go too long on this run, so didn't waste a lot in terms of tire wear. And now it looks like the rest of the field will have to make a decision on whether they'll go down pit road, get those fresher tires than the guys up front if they stay out, or if they decide to stay out with the rest of the field on the yellow tires and try to stay strong up there with those guys. So Corey Hart's the reason for this yellow with just 5 laps remaining, and we're very, very close to green-white checker territory as soon as we reach 3 laps to go, unless there's the replay. Looks like he got loose on the back straightaway. This was battling with Hunter Johnson, who was trying to peak low. I think contact between the both of them, it actually was. I think Hunter just got loose and then tapped the 57 barely, and then that got into him and pushed him around, and he was able to save the race car. I don't think he had much damage, but looks like I don't think anyone else went down pit road for the moment. Nick Miller and everyone else still staying out. Not sure whether pit road is open or whether they're still deciding to stay out on those older tires with just 4 laps remaining. Charlie, if you're one of these drivers up front of the older tires, you know you have Hunter Johnson and the rest of the group who pitted a little bit earlier behind you. Do you decide to pit, or do you kind of take the risk and stay out?
I think at this point in the race, not a lot of people are going to dive down